dynamic ladies who just happen, real estate is their platform to leverage their influence in the community. Who's ready? But here's what you didn't know. There's actually a fifth lady that's going to be on stage. Anyone want to take a bet on who it is? It's my lovely girlfriend, who just happens to be my wife, Miss Yvette Kendrick. So come on down. I'm going to put her right here. And so she and I, we're actually going to ask questions together because kind of like, I don't remember who mentioned earlier about women thinking differently than men. She's going to ask some questions that I probably wouldn't even think of. And so, but when we thought about this panel, I happened to be with my buddy Matt McKee, and I was telling Matt McKee in Winter Garden, he's been on our panel before, and I said, Matt, man, I need a superstar. And he's like, man, he goes, you got to get Erica Diaz. He's like, she's doing things on the west side that no one else is doing. And she's one of the first people I called, and she said yes. So Ms. Erica Diaz, come on down. And we'll put Erica right here. And then one of my favorite people, ironically, and I don't know if she remembers this, but when we were in New Orleans, at a conference, and she's like, Kevin Kendrick, I saved a seat because I want to get to know you. And that was the beginning of our friendship. Ms. Liliana Pickens. And Liliana, I'm going to put you on that side. Okay. I pulled a great prank on Miss Carlene Grimes a few years ago, probably about 7 years ago. Remember when I brought you to the house and I told you we were leaving? And you're like, okay. I was like, and you coming with us? And this was like 7, 8 years ago, but we were actually just going to Europe. So, but Carlene is one of the most authentic ladies in real estate, and so I want to introduce Miss Carlene Grimes. And she brought her mama today, too. So make sure you say hi to Mama Grimes, or Mama before the day's over. And then lastly, every person in real estate, you should always have that one person that you can bounce ideas off, whether it's good, bad. And I consider her one of my best friends in real estate because we went to real estate school together. Our kids went to school together. Ms. Zaide Wallace. So ladies, each of you should have a microphone to your 1, 2, 3. And if not, we can pass that. Everyone grab a mic. We can share. If not, Yvette and I can share too. So, well, ladies, let's get started. And Erica, we'll start with you. And we'll just work our way down, and we'll snake back. But just tell us, like, the Reader's Digest version of you and your... It should be on the side.
Okay. Hello.
There we go. We got you. Just tell us a little bit about yourself in your business and who you are, whether you're a mom, married, anything like that. Tell us the Reader's Digest version.
Yes, so I am a mom. I have 4 kids, 3 biologically and 1 adopted. I just say that because if anybody's journeyed through adoption, it is not for the faint of heart. And then there's years of things that come after that process. So I run a team of about 10 high-performing agents. We do anywhere to 2 to 250 units a year, about 100 million. And I'm a wife. So that's the Reader Digest version.
Awesome. Carlene?
Well, I'm Carlene. Okay.
You're on.
All right. So I'm Carlene Grimes, and I work out of the Keller Williams Lake Nona office. There go my people over there somewhere scattered. Okay. I'm a team of, well, we're a team, me and my husband, and we have a transaction coordinator. And let's see, we've been doing it together now for about 5 or 6 years. So we've seen some growth. We've gone through ups and downs, and I think we're on a steady path of climbing right now. So I'm happy to talk about that. I'm also happy to talk about that I have 4 kids, 3 boys and 1 girl, and I'm so ecstatic that one of my sons are graduating from USF Friday. So I'm so excited about that. And that's it. That's it about me.
Carlene, you can use that mic.
What's up, everybody? I'm Zaide Wallace, and first of all, I am so fangirling, right? Like, I love everybody on this panel. I'm so excited to be up here. Being with women that I've admired for so long and get to be in partnership for so long. So this will be my 14th year in the industry, and boy, has it been a journey. I feel like singing started from the bottom, now we're here. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm blessed to be on the stage. I'm blessed to be in amazing company. My husband and I will be celebrating 14 years. So I literally got married and got into real estate at the same time. Don't do it. I don't recommend that. We blended our family. We have 5 beautiful children. I teach, I coach. Real estate is my ministry. And yeah, that's who I am.
Well, hello, everyone. I love these girls. And I just met Erica, and I already love you. My name is Liliana Pickens, and I am currently the team leader in KW in Lake Nona. This is a new thing. Not really, but kind of, sort of. I am also a mom of 3. My boys are already young men, except I'm in denial around that. Because why do they have to leave? Right? I also run a coaching company. So real estate, I love that you said real estate is my ministry, because I totally feel that way as well. I feel this is a great community and a great conduit to have amazing conversations to change people's lives. So in our coaching team, last year we closed 317 units for a total volume of around 120 million. And we're changing people's lives. We're seeing that like happening in our, in front of our own eyes. I'm also a runner. If you've ever heard of Lake Nona Run Club, that's my 4th child. It's fun. I am that person that runs for fun.
So historically, I like to shoot from the hip. I like to just ask questions, but Yvette doesn't roll that way. So we had to sit by the pool yesterday, and we mapped out our questions. Well, we might add on to the, but Liliana, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
And speaking of Yvette, Yvette often says, do not despise small and humble beginnings. How and when did your business/real estate journey begin? And what were some of the initial challenges you encountered as a woman in the industry?
Oh my God, I love that question. So I came into real estate in 2016. This is going to be my 8th year. Same company the whole way through. The reason I came into real estate was because I was in a job of almost 20 years, and I thought that there was nothing else for me there, like I couldn't grow anymore. My oldest at the time, Ricardo, was graduating high school. And I was like, oh my God, he's like having this big moment in his life, and where's my moment? Like, what do I do, right? What example am I setting for the boys around chasing for your dreams and chasing a bigger life than what I was programmed to have? So I came into real estate. As a woman coming into real estate, I came into an office that was pretty male-dominated. You know, Kevin was in my office.
Me, Chris Baker,
And Chris
Rusi,
Baker was still in
Frazier.
my office, yeah. So I came into Chris Baker's team. I had met Chris 2 years prior. We had done a relay for life, and the whole night we walked the track and we were just talking. And we bonded around me losing my aunt to cancer. He had just lost his wife to cancer as well, so that was a big conversation. But coming into real estate, my perception when I came in was that this was a very male-dominated industry, and that was a story in my head. That was 100% the story in my head. Because when I came into the office, even though, I keep thinking it's the Chris Bakers of the world, and the Dave Fraziers, and Kevin, right, and it's all the boys. One day, I sat in a classroom, and this one sitting next to me was teaching. Oh, yeah. And I remember having the thought of one day I want to be like her. And she instantly became my role model. So even though my mindset was not there with this, there's a space for me here as a woman, and not only as a woman, but as a Latina woman, because, that's also against me in this world, right? I found a space where I had women that I could look up to and model after so that I could grow. So thank you. And we've had this conversation before, so don't be crying here. No.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, because the tissues will rip off my eyelashes.
Yeah,
Like,
no, there's like, no.
we can't tissue.
Yeah, so I feel like my biggest struggle was really just me. It was me getting over me. I'm sure I'm not alone in that boat. Yeah, right? The moment that I realized you gotta get out of your own way, everything started happening. And it was incredible how God or the universe or whatever you believe in conspired to make it all happen. 2 years in, I became a team leader in another Keller Williams office. 2 years later, I built a coaching company that's very successful today. Now I'm here in Lake Nona again, which was my original home, and it's like this awesome full circle moment, right? From that girl sitting in that Ignite room, looking up to Carlene and looking up, to Saide, and now I'm there, like with you guys, in the same level, and I love it.
Liliana, thank you so much for sharing that. And it's just always neat to hear how our lives intertwine. So, Zaide, how about you?
First of all, let me just catch myself because thank you. I'm gonna be real with you guys, like so real. And I love to make sure that I am sharing the most truest parts of me because I want to speak to not just the women, but the men that whether you're starting out, wherever you are in your journey, right? And so, as I mentioned before, when I first began 14 years ago, I had just gotten married, blended a family. It was absolute chaos. But what happened before that, right, is absolute madness, going through divorce, going through loss of a house. And if you remember, this was 2009, 2010, and what was going on with the market then, right? So everything was in shambles. And I remember the level of anxiety, the level of feeling shamed, being broke, like so broke. And I got into this career with this desire to just put food on the table. That's it. I had my two children. I just wanted to put food on the table. That's it. That was the goal. I'm a little girl born and raised in the Bronx, came, to Florida on a humbug, came on vacation, never left. And I just wanted to put food on the table. And so to walk this journey, and for the KW peeps that are in the house right now, if you remember me back then, I was a hot mess. Oh yeah. Oh, I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess. I didn't look like any kind of rock star. I was ripping and running in the wrong directions, focused on the wrong things, prioritizing the wrong things, and I knew that there was something else, and all I needed to do was lean in to the leaders that were around me. And that was literally what I did, was say, okay, there's more to this career, because I was in corporate. In corporate, there's those walls and those barriers and those boundaries. There's no way you're ever gonna become the CEO of Hilton, right? That's just like a wild dream. However, could I become the CEO of me, of my life, of my destiny? Who is my true leader? God is my true leader. And that was the bottom line. And when I decided to really dig into my faith, to really just hold hands with the leadership around me, look at my husband and say, look, okay, this is what I'm doing. This isn't a part-time thing. This isn't I'm not having fun here. This is for real, for real. We're gonna do this thing. And I put my head down and I kept moving, and I discovered that I love to teach. And that was God all day long, because I didn't understand the purpose that he had placed on my life until, again, I opened my mind, I opened my heart, I opened my spirit to say, what is this supposed to be? Is this just about selling one house at a time? And the answer is no, it's not. So it's an exciting time to be in real estate. I know everybody's like freaking out just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, chill out, right? Like, chill out.
Calm the hell down.
Calm down, because it's not just about houses.
Correct.
So, you can't hear me? Really? Okay.
You just gotta hold the microphone closer.
I've got to
your
hold
chin.
the mic closer. I've never been told I can't be heard. That's interesting. Thank you for that. Thank you. See, women supporting women, so thank you.
All right, Carlene. Oh my gosh, you gonna make me read that whole thing again? So what were some of those? When did you get started? like year, and then what were some of the struggles that you've encountered in real estate, just in general, but also being a woman? And to Liliana's point, literally, we were at the poolside yesterday. We were coming up with questions, and I actually said, real estate's a male-dominated field, and you said the same exact thing. And Yvette's like, that's a mindset.
Yeah, it's not true.
Yeah, Yvette said the same thing.
No, the stats show otherwise.
Yeah. So, but what are some of the struggles that maybe you've encountered?
Okay, so you know I'm going to keep it real. That's one of
I didn't bring fake people to the stage today.
Yes.
Let's just say that. All right.
Keep it real. I started in New York at a little mom and pop real estate office. I decided that I wanted to do something different. I was a physical therapist assistant at the time. I wanted to do something else. And my husband said, just go ahead, just do the class. And I did. And I started there, and it was a journey of, okay, this is great, but then we moved. And then we moved to Florida, and then I was out of it. And then I said, oh, well, if I sell a house or two, maybe I'll be good at that point. And I did that. And then in 2015, I made the decision to come to Keller Williams because, in fact, when I walked in the office, I saw faces that looked like me. Zaide's face was on the wall. Christopher Baker's face was on the wall. And I said, oh, y'all got black people here. What? No way. And they on the wall? So right away, I was like, I'm sold. You really don't have to say anything else. Not that where I wasn't working, there weren't any people that looked like myself, but in fact, were they on the walls? No, they were not. And I knew that I needed something to see, to reflect on, and that was it. And it just immediately put something in me, put something in my belly that I was like, I have to be here. So I went there, and in 2017, we suffered a really bad hardship with one of the homes that we had in New York. And we actually lost it. But in 2017, we bought it back because I was nonstop going after it. My husband knows. I was like, we're gonna buy this baby back cash on the auction steps. And we did. So real estate can do anything for you. You have to set your mind that you're not gonna stop no matter what. And you are the one that chooses who you wanna be in this business, how you wanna look in this business, and who you wanna help in this business. And I've done that so far, and I love it. It's a ministry for me as well.
Okay, so my story is a little bit different, and then if you've followed it at all, it's very public. But I will say to you three ladies, the difference between me and your experience was yesterday, I'm showing my own personal house, which is my favorite thing to do, by the way. And I opened the door to a Brazilian agent, and her first thing is, oh, you're white. And I said, yes, I am. She said, yes. I said, I married a Spanish man. So I get the opposite where it's like, oh, wait. Oh, so, but my story starting into real estate was so that I could leave that man because he was a raging alcoholic and he wasn't safe for my family. But he's in entertainment, so it's socially acceptable. His bosses fed him alcohol in the evening, in the daytime, any time of the day. It didn't matter. And when his bosses were saying, hey, you need to pick up X, Y, and Z for this artist, and this artist, it really wasn't conducive to a family lifestyle. And at that point, we had already had 3 small kids. So I got into it for the money. I said, I need to support these 3 kids so I can leave him because he's not going to either be here to support these kids, he's going to wrap his truck around a pole and kill somebody else's kids, and that's going to be way worse, and he's going to be hitched to my wagon, or, well, that's the only thing I could see, right? That was the only thing I could see happening. So I basically said, I'm going to make $100,000. Well, I got there, and I realized $100,000 for 3 kids ain't much money. So I was like, I'm gonna make 200,000. And I got there and I thought, God, these things keep eating. So I got a little bit above that, and then I said, get out. Get out. And he said, what? I said, today's the day. Get out. And he was like, oh, I'll quit drinking. I said, boo, I've heard that. I have heard that. Get out. Now, fast forward to today. I'm happy to report we've had a fourth child by adoption because I fixed his ass so he couldn't have any more kids with anybody else. I was not going to pay for that. So he is sober. He is 5 years sober. Beautiful. Yes. And that is 100% divine by God. So I believe in miracles, and I'm here for it, and I love it. But that is truly why I got into real estate. It was so I could support those 3 kids. And now they think I'm the alcoholic if I have a glass of wine. A glass. When homeboy was drinking straight from the bottle in the garage all day, every day. But they didn't see that. So that's how I got started.
I love that. I love that. And that's why I like asking that question, or I love that statement, do not despise humble beginnings, because we don't get here without going through some stuff, right? And I think everything that we experience throughout our life, all of the challenges, trials, struggles, everything, the messy, the middle, all of it, and everything in between has a purpose, and it all brings us to where we are today. So thank you for sharing. I love that. So the next question I have for you is, how do you navigate being a mom, a wife? Some of y'all, I don't know, maybe we have some single moms in here, right? Like, how do you navigate that journey of wearing those hats while focusing on your career and not feeling guilty? Because this career can suck the life out of you. And not just this career, like if you're in business in general, right? Or even just working a 9 to 5, like you have that responsibility. How do you navigate that? How do you take care of yourself and not, because mom guilt is a real thing. It's true, right? So talk to us about that. Like, talk to us about how do you navigate that, balancing it all and making sure you're taking care of yourself.
I hate the word balance. I think it's an unrealistic expectation for you to balance it all. I think we live in a constant state of counterbalance. And let me explain that. I have 3 boys, 3 dogs, a husband, a run club, friends, right? Business partners, colleagues, and I coach 500 agents. It's fun. It's a lot. When I have learned that the only way that I can survive, that my mental health can survive, it's actually to be where my feet are. So when I am here, I am sucking as a mother, and I am sucking as a wife, and that's okay. But I have had to learn to be okay with that, right? I mean, my children are super proud that I have a microphone today, right? And my husband was all like, oh my God, are you nervous? I'm like, no, it's gonna be fine. Right? They're all proud and doing all that. But right here, right now, my whole focus is you guys and being here with you. My 500 agents that I coach, I'm sucking with them too right at this moment because I am not there. And that's okay. We have to find a way to make peace with that, and you just have to have your priorities straight. I am very aware of what my mission in life is. And I know that I'm here to lead and empower others to change their world and to help them fulfill their potential. So it's very easy for me to say yes to the things that I have to say yes to, and to say no to the thing that's not leading me closer to me fulfilling that mission in my life. So it's a matter of priority. And fun fact about the word, right up to the Second World War, the word priority was singular. And it was only when women came into the workforce when the word priority became plural. Because we are held at a different standard. We are expected to be the career woman, the successful business person, yada, yada, and then get home and cook dinner and do homework and do all the things, right? So think about that. This is still fairly new. This was the other day. This was less than 100 years ago. that the word priority became priorities, only because we chose to come to work. So I think you just need to be where your feet are, and when you are where your feet are, just give it your all, and one day at a time. My mom, may she rest in peace, always said that to me. One day at a time. And for someone that runs a gazillion miles an hour, one day at a time is not something that we want to hear. Am I alone there?
Sometimes it's one moment at a time.
Literally.
1 minute, literally 1 minute.
Literally.
At a time, yeah.
Sometimes it's like 1 hour. Like, what am I doing in this 1 hour? Where does my focus attention need to be in this 1 hour? And then just make the decision, because it is a choice. Everything is a choice. Even if you're not aware of it, you are making a decision. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, you are making it, and you got to own it. So just one day at a time.
Time blocking, boundaries, and managing expectations.
Preach.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So-
Say it louder.
Right? So, it's funny because we use those words a lot in our business, but guess what? I use them at home also.
Same.
Also, right? So when I first started, I mentioned I was an absolute hot mess. And the craziest thing happened when I started inviting my family into the conversation. Like, y'all need to stop making demands on me because you think that I have time to do X, Y, Z. Just because mom's not going to the 9 to 5 doesn't mean that I can go pick up the laundry, go drop off golf clubs. True story. Mom, I forgot my sneakers for gym. Can you come bring them? No. Okay, no. And then I realized, wait a minute. This isn't their fault. This is my fault because I haven't communicated effectively what it is that I need from them. And I had to have a family conversation. And I actually gave them access to my calendar.
Oh my God, my husband has access to my calendar.
There you go.
So do my
Right,
kids. Like, I
exactly.
send them like calendar dates.
Yes,
It's
yes.
dinner date.
Even now, my daughter has access to my calendar now. She's in college in New York. My baby is gone. We're empty nesters. And she even now, because she'll FaceTime me randomly, I'm like, boo-boo, you see I'm in a meeting right now, right? Like, what are you doing? So I know that if she does call, it's an emergency. Yeah. However, look at my calendar first and then decide if you just need a mommy hug, right? And maybe it sounds like a little harsh or, but at the end of the day, I will stop, drop, and run for my family. There's nothing that I wouldn't do for them. And because of that, it's important that I brought them into the conversation. So that was number one, establishing those boundaries as well as, and with our customers, I let them know, I'm sorry, but I personally feel like it's a myth that we have to work until 11, 2 o'clock in the morning. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You absolutely do not. I let my customers know that my day ends at 6 p.m. So that I can spend time with my family. And Mr. Buyer or Seller, if you need me, you can feel free to call me, text me, email me, and I promise I'll respond tomorrow morning, right? Appropriate boundaries. Because my daughter, she's the funniest thing, but she'd be the first one at 6 years old. Mom, put the phone down. Mom, you're not paying attention to me. Mom. And I'm like, okay, she's right.
I love that you said that. So my husband has placed that boundary on me to where all my work calls I need to finish in the driveway. I am not allowed to walk into the house with the phone on my ear. 24 years of marriage. It's not easy.
And look, the garage is hot. You gotta finish that call fast.
I'm like, I gotta go, man.
Gotta go. Yeah. So, but that's basically, and I believe in counterbalance as well. I'm not gonna be great all the time at everything. It's impossible. However, when you bring people into the conversation, that's how you can appropriately self-care.
So conversations bring clarity. I say that all the time. And give access to your calendar to your family. That's what I'm hearing. Carlene?
Well, that's good. And I know all of that, right? However, I got kids, grown kids right now that don't accept my invites, okay? So I have to corner them.
No. Are we paying for the cell phone?
Oh, yeah, we do all that.
That's my rule. If I pay for the cell phone, you click on my invite.
I get it. But, my mom was easy on me, so I'm I'm a pushover, I have to say. So if they don't accept the invite for the calendar. It's all good because on Mondays, we have a meeting, a Zoom meeting, that I get everything out, okay? So I think that's very beneficial to have family meetings to kind of go over what's missing, what somebody's stressing in, the anxiety, because kids have anxiety, and us as parents have our own anxieties, fears, and concerns. And sometimes we just don't know how to get it out in a calm way. We usually wait till it builds up and escalates, and then we're like, "Ugh." So I think a meeting is the best way for us to get everything out, get everyone on the same page. And as far as time is concerned, when I feel that there needs to be time spent, I mean, my husband is famous for this. He'll book a trip in a second and say, let's go. Like, there's no questions asked. He doesn't care what's on the books. He's like, we have to go, because he knows at that point that I'm probably reaching my limit because I'm very short-tempered. Truth be told, I'm not nice all the time.
No.
You know, we get stressed out. We're not nice all the time. So he knows that, and he's like, it's time to get away. What I do feel that is very beneficial is putting people, it may sound a little corny, but putting people on a, like a campaign or a command system that we have, kind of touching base with them, because there are times we forget. Like, I'm not gonna forget to call my mom, but I'm gonna forget to call maybe my uncle or my friends, you know, things like that. So sometimes we need to time block people and say, this is their time if they're important to us. They may be here today, but they may be gone tomorrow. So remember that.
So before Erica shares, there's a guy, he did a video. He was interviewing another guy, and he said, you know, where do your parents live? My parents live in Washington, D.C. How old are they? They're in their late 70s, early 80s. And he said, how often do you see your parents? He said, twice a year. He goes, how many more years do you expect your parents to live? He said, probably another 5 to 6 years. So he said, the reality is, you don't have 5 more years with your parents. You have 10 more visits with your parents. She sent that to me. That was powerful, because our parents live locally, and we don't see them as much as we should. So Carlene, there's your mom. She says she wants on that Zoom. So, Erica?
Okay, so I think I might have the youngest kids here, because it sounds like y'all got grown ones. My 3-year-old ain't accepting an invite to a Google Calendar. He's running my Google Calendar. Homeboy woke up 4 times last night. He still doesn't sleep through the night. So I am in a very different season. And so what that looks like for me is leveraging resources. We all make plenty of money, even in this terrible market. And you've got to leverage those resources to give you what's most important to you. And what is most important to me is time. Guess what I don't like doing? Laundry.
Oh my God.
I don't like cooking.
Me either, yeah.
Me
I'm
neither.
not scrubbing a toilet. I'm not doing it.
My husband does that.
Well, good, but mine is not going to do it
That's my
either.
leverage.
I love that, but you've trained yours better than mine. I just got him to stop drinking, remember? We got some more
One thing
years.
at a time, one thing
One
at a
thing at a time. So I'm going to use the resources that have been afforded to me to take over some of those things that I don't want to do. Because what I want to do is I want to be present, and I want to be there, and I want to be in the moment with those kids. Now, 2 hours driving every morning, round trip, 3 different schools. It's fun. Sometimes there's fighting, sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's no talking at all because everyone's salty, like this morning. But that's okay. But one time on a panel, somebody said to me, treat your kids like an appointment. And I said, ugh, that sounds really harsh. They said, when you're with your clients on showings, do you answer the phone to other clients or your kids or your family unless they're bleeding and dying or on fire? And I said, no, I don't. They said, well, why would you not give your kids the same level of respect that you're giving that client, that really, that client ain't gonna be around forever for you in your life. Your kids, I mean, that's your goal, right? They're your legacy, they're everything. So when it kind of dawned on me, and I had to get off that panel and kind of think about it for days, not just a minute, days. I was like, my kids are an appointment, and they're just as important to me. Now, in my second career now, third probably, I'm an Uber driver at night and in the mornings, and I have a very exclusive clientele. They share the same last name as me. But what I get in my Uber services, they get out of the car and they go to swim, or they go to AAU basketball, or they go to volleyball, and I'm trapped in my car for an hour. So those boundaries for me right now are a little bit down with my clients because I have the opportunity and the availability to work in those hours. But I need to be off between 4 and 6:30 so that I'm focused on those kids. But setting that expectation with your client, hey, listen, 4 to 6:30, gonna be a little harder. I'm schlepping dinner, I'm doing things like that. But then after that, I start dropping off, and then I can talk to you. So I think just setting that expectation and those boundaries, treating your children like they are an appointment, and that you're giving them the same priority that you would give a client in your car. And I think that working on yourself too. I guess the other thing is this past year, I was so exhausted because of this market that I had to really take a step back and focus on myself. And it was like, you're drinking too much, you're eating way too much, you're not working out. And I kind of overhauled all that, fortunately, publicly with my husband's radio station. So I didn't have a choice but to lose 50 pounds publicly and have cameras working us out and being public with it. But the takeaway from that was when that 3-year-old wakes up 4 times a night, which he slept 10 nights in 3.5 years, it's easier to get through because I'm healthier. So I really needed to show up for me to be able to balance and leverage my life because it's very chaotic right now.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not my turn to ask the question, but I just have a thought because one of my questions was, or not questions, but statement was like this industry, there's a lot of output, a lot of performance, a lot of, hustle, the hustle culture, right? And I believe that can impact you. It have a negative impact on you, your emotional health and your mental health. So let's talk, if we can talk real quickly about that and how I have found, and I've been guilty of this in my career and years ago, is like, we use things to numb that, right? Or just to kind of like, it's easier, instead of dealing with the kids, we'll pick up a glass of wine, so we can relax, so that we can deal with getting the kids to bed and, ready and all that stuff. And not to shame anyone, like I've been there, done that. But like, what would you say to maybe young women who are kind of just at the beginning of their, business, and they're hustling and they need to provide, they need to work and build their business?
I feel like, you got to do what you got to do, right? You got to have a lot of clarity on what does it mean to go hustle? Do you have a number in your head? Have you reverse engineered that? And then you have to like time block your life. I'm a big time block person. I learned time blocking from this one. When she pulled her time block that one time, I was like, oh my God, so many colors. But what I have learned in the past few years is that the one thing that I was not time blocking was joy. I wasn't time blocking joy. And one day my coach said, where's Joy in your calendar? I'm like, who's Joy? I'm like, what do you mean? We don't have anyone named Joy. She's not in my calendar. She's like, no. Like your own joy. When are you taking time for you? And for 12 years or so, my me time is my running. I run in the mornings, 5:30 in the morning, 5-6 miles, and I'm out into the world working. And she's like, yeah, but that's not enough anymore. There needs to be something else. So I was challenged 2 years ago to start time blocking joy. And now it's funny because when I look at what brings me joy, it's really nothing else but the people that I want to spend time with, right? So it's date nights with Josh. It's, visiting my kid. I have 2 boys out of the house already. One lives here in South Florida. One is in Georgia. Obviously, it's easier to see the one in South Florida than the one in Georgia. So I go to South Florida twice a month to coach my team in Miami, and I get to see Ricardo. And I have to be very purposeful about that. That is not taking time away from the hustle and the work and doing whatever we need to be doing. But for me, it's about being purposeful and not forgetting that I come first. And I know that is not popular. And what's going to come out of my mouth is going to be less popular, and I will not apologize for that. My children are my world, but they are not all of my world. I come before they come. Because if I don't take care of me, I cannot show up for them or my husband or my colleagues or anyone else the way that I need to show up, just to honor whomever sent me into this world. That's the point in my life where I'm at. So just do the thing, but honor yourself. And you have to put it on the calendar. If you are that person that you're going to leave yourself for last, that's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable model. At some point, you're going to burn out.
You are preaching to the whole choir.
Preach.
The whole choir. You know, and I want to kind of take off on what you just said to the idea of spiritual order, right?
Yeah, it's God family business.
God, family, business.
In that order.
God, you know, and so it's so incredible to see how when things start going a little wild or crazy in your life and you stop and you analyze and you examine, okay, well, what's going on here? And I don't know about you guys, but I've learned a lot about myself in this business. You learn so much about who you are when you get a transaction that's going sideways, customers that you had a love fest with 2 days ago cuss you out, and you're like, what? But I love you. Why are you treating me this way, right? And I'm a Bronx girl, so don't play, right? So, but it's hard. It's like, okay, who am I? Am I who I thought I was, or am I somebody different? And so I've had the meltdowns. Turns out I struggle with anxiety. I was having panic attacks regularly. Out of nowhere, it's like, let me go grab some McDonald's. Wait, hold on, it's cry time. And I'm sitting in the car crying. I'm like, why? Well, girl, why are you crying?
That's why you were going for McDonald's.
Okay, right. So, you know, but it's real to just be in this industry, to be in this business and surrender to the process, to understand that you're changing. You are physically changing, mentally changing, emotionally changing. All of these things are happening at the same time. And then you got kids in your face. And by the way, the husband's like, oh, hey, can I just have a minute? You know, it's a lot going on all at the same time. And so you're absolutely right when you talk about order and scheduling joy, because that's one thing. I put everything and everyone else first. And I want to say it's in this year, closer to 50 than I am to 40, where I was like, wait a minute, Zaide, who are you? And what do you love? And what do you want to do? And what do you want more of in your life? And this is the first time in my life over the last couple of years that I've really prioritized my joy.
Yeah, I love that. And sleep, that's important
Oh,
too.
sleeping and exercise, I need that.
Like, I'm at that point in my life, I'm in my late 40s. It's fun. Where if I choose the glass of wine, my sleep is going to be screwed. It's literally a choice. Am I going to have the glass of wine or am I going to sleep?
I'm there.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, how do I get me time in? It's definitely the walks now. I take walks in the evening time, and I love bunny rabbits. I've discovered that. I love that. Through my walks. I love nature. We had went to Africa on a mission trip in June, and one thing that Ogla Gadama said, that's who we had, did the mission trip with, and Jackie's here as well, she went. And one thing that was so important to Ogla was, because that's her native country, was saying thank you to nature, to the animals, to the things that we don't notice around us that are giving us life. And you may not notice it, but you know, let's say you have an animal, let's say you have a dog or a cat that is close to you. When that animal passes away, it's not an animal, it's a part of the family, right? That being has brought you joy because of the nature that they have inside of them. So I challenge you, don't just pay attention to people and to things, and especially material stuff. Don't even worry about that. Don't even worry about that. Take time to pay attention to the nature around you, the birds that chirp, the squirrels that run across the tree. I'm serious. I'm at that place. And I don't know, maybe it's just the thing that I'm going through that is allowing me to see this, but I see it so much differently than I did maybe 10 years or 15 years ago. So that's my joy. That's my joy.
When you quiet the mind, the soul speaks.
Can I just add something to, it's almost not related, but people. Because I am just amazed by God and how I'll shut down when I am in the struggle. And God will send people to call me, to reach out. And Carlene reminded me, because when the year that you went to Africa, and it was so wild because I call so many people in here my friends. And Carlene, Liliana, Yvette, and we don't speak all the time, but they'll reach out at just the right time. And that was the same year where all of a sudden Carlene reaches out and she's like, hey, I'm going to this worship concert. Do you want to go? I was like, yes. And she has no idea the impact that had on me. So first of all, thank you for that. And thank you to everybody. You know who you are in this room if you've reached out to me. But I wanted to just mention that because you're talking about the bunny rabbits, but it all works together, right?
It does. It does. So I think the hustle and coming out of 2020, it was hard and I wasn't happy. And I've more realized this more recently. I coach, and I told my coach, I'm not happy. I'm miserable. I hate it. I don't like this. And it was, how do you get happy? Well, when I took a step back and I looked at like, what am I doing? I'm owned by that car out there. I am owned by this gigantic house. I am owned by all these things. I am owned by so much, and the time is just passing. And for what? So that I can, I'm not trying to be like a jerk, but to sit up here and be on a panel, at the end of the day, we're all gonna die. Yep. And hopefully you know where you're going, but that I want more. I want more. So how did I decide to get more? Well, I said, honey, we're gonna sell the house. He said, oh God, what's happening? And I said, well, we're getting chickens, but don't worry, I already got them here. He said, oh God. Then I said, don't worry, we can't have chickens. I'm gonna get bunnies to hide the chickens. So we got bunnies. So in my HOA, I've got bunnies, I've got chickens. They come to the office. I mean, there is no telling what animal is gonna be in there on any given day, but it's because I find joy in the peace. I find joy in this special, serene place where I get to spend time with God and I get to reflect on everything that I've done and gone through, and you are changing and you are growing. And who are you? Like, who are you? When I started, I was arguably a lot more hot-headed. But I even had an episode on Tuesday that I'm not the most proud of. But just recognizing it and learning and growing from that and not getting wrapped up in the hustle. So if I were sitting in front of 30-year-old Erica that was about to come into real estate.
That was our next question.
Oh, well, if I was sitting in front of 30-year-old Erica who was about to come into real estate, I'd say, sweet girl, it's gonna be a wild ride. You're gonna make a lot of money. Don't eat so much and drink so much because it's really hard to lose it all. But hang tight and try not to lose yourself, because you're gonna, and it's gonna be hard to get back. And by the grace of God, I feel like I've got it back and I feel like I'm in a good spot. But what if I hadn't met Jesus along that road? What if I didn't find all the peace? And part of us selling this house, yes, we are gonna go custom build, so don't feel sorry for Erica. We're going on mission. We're spending more time out of the country working on the mission fields, because during that time, I raised 3 kids very entitled to, I want this, I want that, okay, get it and order it, go. Because I was pacifying something because I was so busy and I neglected what I should have been doing. I was outsourcing the #1 job in this country. I was outsourcing being a mother. And I said, no. That child that I adopted, that I tried so hard for, that pulled him out of a situation that would have been terrible for him, I'm not outsourcing this the same way I outsourced the other 3. I love those first 3 too. But I don't want to be that person. And I don't care if we sell 200 million next year. I want to succeed because we've got families and mouths back there. And I love those families and mouths. I'm proud of that. But we will succeed. We will just succeed smarter, not harder. And this market's not getting any easier. So.
Yeah. So We've got time for 2 more questions, and she wants to ask the question about the younger self, which is what we're going to finish off
I'm
with.
sorry.
No, you're good. So briefly, okay, and Carlene, if I have to ask Curtis to step out, I can. But how has your business impacted your marriage, and how has your spouse supported or not supported your career?
What a great question. We've been married 24 years, Josh and I, and Josh is my biggest cheerleader and supporter. And that started way before I got into real estate. That basically started when I started running. And I said, I'm gonna run a marathon. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And then I did that, and he was like, oh, you're gonna do the thing. So every time I say things like, I'm gonna go into real estate, or I'm gonna go team lead or coach or whatever, Josh is my #1 supporter, and he's also the one person that keeps me the most accountable. He can see it before I can see it myself when I'm burning the candle at both ends. And he's the one saying, dude, hang up the phone. Like literally the other day, I was in the hammock by the pool on the phone with an agent, and he stood up in front of me and said, you said that you were gonna be off the phone by 6. It's 6:10. I was like, I gotta go now. Go save that deal. Right, so he keeps me accountable. I think it's changed our marriage in a way that he looks at me differently. I am not the girl he married 24 years ago. We have grown together, and growing hurts. 24 years, it's a lot. 3 kids and all that comes with it. Raising children, it's very, very hard. I've had situations with my kids that have made it harder. Mental health, physical. My oldest, as you know, has an autoimmune disorder for the rest of his life. We do chemo every 4 years. It's a thing. We have to look at his numbers and make sure that he's not dying every 6 weeks. Life will throw you curveballs, but these things only make us stronger as a couple. And I feel real estate, it's funny because all the trips that we take or whatever, he's all like, thanks to real estate, we can do all the things. I'm like, yeah, it's thanks to real estate. So he's my biggest supporter, and I understand that I'm very lucky on that because not every woman has that. But it is our job to enlist their support. We have to explain to them why we are doing what we are doing and how they are benefiting from it and what type of support we're gonna need from them so that we can move forward together. Otherwise, we get into this to do better for our families, and then we end up breaking the families.
That part, right? And I've coached so many women that are stating that they're struggling in their relationship or to get support from their family. And I'm so glad that you shared that, because I don't think that there's anybody that hasn't had that moment where it's just like, I'm trying to help you understand what it is that I'm doing here, and I just started, and I know it's been 4 months, and I haven't brought home any money, but give me a second. And even if it hasn't been verbalized, there's still that pressure, right? It's like I want to participate in my household 100%. So it wasn't always what it is now, and what it is with my husband, Edward, now is that 100% support. He has gone to conferences with me. He goes to showings with me. He comes to my open houses. We talk about business. We are a real estate family. We own additional real estate. And so it's been a journey, though. 14 years of us getting into this relationship with real estate as one of our things. It's not our foundation. It's not our platform. It's just a thing. We do have other conversations that are not real estate related, right? However, it didn't start off that way. And so, again, having that conversation, that family conversation, where I needed to help him understand what I needed from him mentally, emotionally, physically. There's times where he's like, okay, well, let's talk about, I'm like, I don't want to talk about.
I'm out of words.
Please, leave me alone. And he respects that.
Yeah.
And, and same thing. So that's the way that we support each other. Everybody's going to be different. And you just have to have those conversations with your spouse about what it is that you need. And that's, pretty much it, the conversation.
Yeah, Curtis, leave the room. No.
We don't want that on tape.
Oh my gosh. Like, I think it's very different when you are in a real estate team with your spouse. Like, that is so different. And more I'm seeing it. I'm seeing that trend, I would say, where more women want to, or men want to get in business with their spouse and become a team, and that's wonderful. But I think we need to have counseling sessions beforehand because it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, we laugh a lot. We laugh through a lot of the pain that comes with it because there are growing pains. In the beginning, that's all Curtis wanted to talk about when he came on board, and I did not want to talk about it. And it was just like, oh, what can I do to stop this conversation? And I noticed that we just stopped conversating. So there was a time when we grew apart and didn't want to have conversation. At least I didn't want to have conversation. And that's a real thing. When the business overpowers what you talk about at dinner. Like, all right, we're not going to talk about the kids, we're not going to talk about business, but we don't want to talk about us because we got so much stuff going on everywhere. So I would caution anyone that is thinking about joining the business with your spouse, although it's someone that you can trust, and I get that, but be mindful that it's going to be a bumpy road. Most of the times, I haven't heard anybody that have been in the business together, and it has not been a bumpy road. Because before, he didn't understand what I was talking about. It was just like, all right, you're overreacting. Now it's like, oh my, what? I don't even know what it's
But I think what's important, Carlene, I think it's important, like, we've double dated, you know, and we've gone out with other couples that are in real estate. And I think it's important to hear from other people, you know, so you can hear the struggles. I've fired her hundreds of times, and she's quit 100 times. But we've navigated that together. I remember one day, Curtis, I don't know if Curtis remembers this, I was walking into Nona Blue, he was walking out, and I was gonna sit and have lunch by myself. Do you remember this, Curtis? And Curtis is like, oh, hell no, I'm gonna sit and have lunch with Kevin. And he basically sat and he's like, man, how do you do it with Yvette? Like, how do you, and we were having questions about navigating business together as a husband and wife team. And it's not easy. And it's not easy when you're doing it together, and it's not easy when your spouse has a different career. But I do think it's important for us to break bread together and talk through those challenges and what's been successful.
I also think hello? Okay. I also think that someone will make a whole lot of money if they decide to become a psychologist for real estate teams. So
There you go.
So, two things. I want to go back to the hustle because I didn't acknowledge somebody here that I really has been life-changing in my business because I don't have that husband that's in the business. He is not. Because remember, I started this to leave him. So there's some animosity there that many years of counseling and things. But finding the right core group working for you, because I went through director of ops, I went through TCs, I went through all that, and they were bad. Like, I was just paying, and they're sitting there, and then you find one, and she's sitting here, and she runs my life, and she gets it. So she's kind of like my work husband, but she's not my work husband, and she's got her own husband, too. So Alejandra, finding the right people, like that helps me balance the hustle because I even told her, I'm out for a month or so and the team kind of knows it and I'm coming in, but I left at 4 o'clock yesterday. I went to work out. I wasn't doing that. I was owned by it and I needed to take a break. My coach knows. If y'all didn't figure out why y'all are coaching every week now, it's because I'm out for a month. If you didn't pick up on that. So my husband, Gosh, he's so great. He really is. I know it doesn't sound like it when I say it that way, but no, we don't talk about business really at all. It's not something that we've shared. It's not something that he loved. And then he's got his own profession, but then identifying strengths and weaknesses, right? And going through counseling. Some of the things that I can say about my husband is that he has been a steady and consistent source of health insurance. And I know that sounds so fictitious, but like that's a reality of this industry. We don't have health insurance, we don't
Tell
offer
me
it.
about it.
Right.
Each chemo is $25,000.
Yeah, okay. So when I honor and recognize my husband as to what he brings to the table, he has been a consistent source of income, guaranteed on payday, for the last 23 years. He has been consistent, showing up and bringing 401k, preparing for our retirement. He has been consistent, bringing health insurance, but we don't do the business together. And he's not on any business accounts. And that may be changing in the future in case something were to happen, because our attorneys are like, oh, if you die, he can't even get it in the bank account. But I wouldn't let him near it, because it wasn't something that I built with him. It was something I built to eliminate him. So it's a little weird.
So he went on a little bathroom break. Oh, I think he's trying to get back in. Can someone open that door? So yeah, one of the questions I had, well, the final question was, when you look back on your life, and you all have shared just such a beautiful journey, and I love stories, so I know everybody here has been blessed by everything you shared. But like, if you were to look at the little girl, right? The little Liliana, Zaide, Carlene, Erica, what would you say to her today?
Get over yourself. Go do the thing.
It's going to be okay.
I think for me, it would be, you're not a baller. When you start making a lot of money, plan better. Because I've been there up and down, and you don't need to go down if you just plan for it. So I would say, get over yourself. It's going to be okay. And get your finances in order. And know your freaking P&L.
Preach.
I would probably say you are more capable than you even know. And you are stronger than you know. And to whatever you do, don't stop. Keep going.
All right, let's give these ladies a round of applause. We're not done yet, but we're done asking questions. So real quick, because we have 2 announcements, but I also know that Citrus and Trust Home always gives away a prize. So get your business cards out, and Megan and Ella are going to collect the business cards so we can do the prizes. One, we're going to go to Park Pizza right down the street in the town center. Ladies, we'd love for you to join us. Erica Diaz team, we'd love all of you to join us as well. We'll take care of the pizza and a non-alcoholic beverage. If you choose to drink a beer, you're on your own. One of the people that, one of the sponsors outside, they didn't come inside, but Northwestern Mutual, they're our financial advising team. And so we'd love for you to connect with them. And then in the back, I put her as a sponsor every month, whether they're in here or not. But Candy Cole, please stand up. Candy Cole is the CEO of the Lake Nona Chamber of Commerce, hands down the best chamber of commerce in all of Central Florida. Please go see Candy before you leave today and find out how you can join the chamber. Let me tell you what, I've been a part of many chambers in Central Florida, and Candy and her team is hands down, heads and shoulders above the rest. And so, so with that, are we collecting cards? And we're going to take a quick picture, ladies. This is our stall to get the cards. Jess, you ready? We're going to take our picture now, and then we're going to draw, and then we're going to go to Park Pizza and have lunch.